Another random sort of gotcha that I see coming up in code review all the time is too many levels of nesting. Here's kind of a silly example, but I've actually seen worse than this before. Just without even thinking about unit testing, this is kind of a nightmare to read. I mean, we've got ifs inside ifs inside ifs. Just look at that staircase right there, all these curly braces. It's really hard to reason about this. And when you're testing it, it's hard to make sure that you've tested all the possible cases right here. So what's a much cleaner way to do this and a much easier way to do this is to actually take these conditions and break them down into functional units. So for instance, this one right here, this test of age is greater than or equal to 18. I have turned that into a function called isAdult. Right here, we've got isSenior, so on and so forth. And then the function that calls all of these becomes much smaller. As a rule of thumb, and again, this is one of these rules of thumb that you can break if you have a good reason to break it and you've got a comment that explains your reasoning. As a rule of thumb, I allow myself one level of nesting inside a function. So if I have more than one, like 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, that to me is a code smell. And I really need to justify to myself my reason for doing that instead of doing something easier to read and understand like this.